Vani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shaittaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Guru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in this very wonderful purport given to the beautiful instruction of Kapila Dev to his mother Devahuti, we are getting to understand a brilliant example of the sun and its reflection and how it is seen. So we are in a world of matter, and the matter which we are so attached to, we are so much possessive of, is actually not conscious. So we are within matter. That's why Prabhupada calls it an incompatible situation. Spirit inside matter. And why it is inside matter? Because of the desire to enjoy separate from Krishna. The world of matter is created so that you can falsely think you are the possessor. You can falsely think, I am the Lord. And you can lord over matter. Because lording over spirit is not possible for you. So you come from the spiritual realm, from the spiritual situation, into the world of matter. And there you are given a situation wherein you can feel that you are the Lord and Master of the matter and the material world. So that is our situation. And to do that, to fall from spirit to matter, and to think that matter is everything, you need to forget yourself. You need to be disconnected with yourself, original self. And you need to be disconnected with the Supreme Personality of God. Then only this is possible. So the crux of the matter is my desire to enjoy separate from the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna, and set up my own lordship, empire, kingdom. For that, we need to, for that, a particular situation is created by Krishna, wherein the compromise is that I want to enjoy this, and therefore I'm willing to be forgetful of myself. It's like buying a ticket and going to a movie or going to one of these rides and shows. And you get prepared that I'm paying you this money, take me for a ride. I'm willing to forget my natural situation and circumstances. Then only I can go peacefully on this ride. So I go into that ride, I sit there in the theater, they give me, VR glasses or 3D glasses or some, Oculus and other type of things, and so that I enter into that realm. I completely forget my actual position, my identity, everything. Then only I can get lost in it. It may be a ride into space, into Mars. It may be with dinosaurs and, the Tyrannosaurus and in a completely different world. And you go into the world. And then you come back after the 6-minute ride or 10-minute ride. Wow! You're coming back. So in order to be into that ride, you desire to forget yourself completely. Forget your material situation completely. Similarly, in order for you to be inside the material realm and get a material experience, you need to forget the spiritual realm completely, forget who you are, forget the Supreme Lord. Or rather, you're not willfully doing it, but you're forced to do it. Only then you can have the separated experience from the Lord. Because the reality is everything is connected with the Lord. Everything is connected with the Lord, some way or the other. So here, the mention is made that now that you are in this situation and you're getting knowledge and waking up to who I am, then you need to actually see the connectedness of everything. everything is actually harmoniously connected with the Supreme. You don't want to call it Supreme, you don't want to call it Krishna, fine. But there is a harmonious connection with the Supreme Force, a absolute. Again, people don't like the word absolute, but there is a source, a foundation from where everything comes. Janmadhyasya yatah. The Vedic literature describes it very neutrally, very secularly also. Yato va yamani bhūtani jayante yena jatani jivanti pravisham vadanti. It says very clearly that describes even the absolute soul, personality in terms of his activity of being the source. If you're uncomfortable with the personality of the source, then we can at least understand that he is the source, the fountainhead, Godhead, from where many different branches of controls are coming. So that is the reality. The reality is that everything is connected with the Supreme. See, as mentioned very nicely in the Upanishad, that Om Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Isavashamidam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat. Like that, everything belongs to that Supreme. Right? So that connectedness, harmonious connectedness, when it is missing, then there is chaos. Cultured religious life means that you may not have realized it and you have started waking up and understanding it with knowledge, and you decide to live like that under this lifestyle, under those conditions. That is civilized human life. Every human being must live like that. Otherwise, he is not a human being. Otherwise, he is not a human being. So connectedness, that I am spirit soul, this is a world of matter, and there is a supreme absolute personality of Godhead, and we are all connected by being connected with him. And even this world of inanimate matter, which we, do things with, is all connected with him. And if you look at the inanimate matter, you will actually see it's not just inanimate in terms of physics and engineering and technology. It is alive. As Prabhupada is mentioning, if you look at a rose, when you look at a rose, of course it is matter, but it is so beautifully crafted, so wonderfully designed. Anybody who looks at it will have to wonder at that shade of colors, that texture of it, so smooth and nice, and the stigma and the corolla in it, and the beautiful shape, and the smell. All of it, if you look together, how can you deny that it has been designed? It has been designed by a personality. You can see that personal touch in the design of the rose. For that matter, take any flower. If you walk around into the forest, into the garden, and if you look at those beautiful flowers, the trees, the swinging in the breeze, and the breeze, the hill, the valley, the vale, the river, the waterfall, you will, if you just forget all this regular technology and the cities and everything, when you go in these places, some of these places are very beautiful, breathtaking. And then you can understand the personalities behind it. Otherwise, it cannot be designed like that. So even in the material world, in matter, in its natural format, you can see the craft of the Supreme Personality. And why has he done that? He's done it for you and me. And all that we need to do is to appreciate that. What a beautiful designer he is. Definitely, nobody can ever design a rose as it is and produce it from the laboratory. And even if they do it, like now they're producing meat in the laboratory, tissue culture and growing beef and chicken and everything. And they're claiming that, see, now it's non-violent. You can eat meat, that's non-violent. But of course, it's taken from the tissue of a, it's cultivated from there onwards. And you can say that it's a very deep moral question. We are not killing animals. Nobody is dying, but we're producing meat. Why can't we eat it as food? So this is for those who are addicted to eating flesh and blood and horrible type of pus and everything put together. They're so addicted to eating, they're producing it and they're eating it. Okay, definitely, it's one step better. And then immediately they claim that, see, we can produce stuff. Why you need God for it? No, you still need. Where did you get the tissue from? You can never be disconnected. The attempt of the material world, scientists, rationalists, thinkers, and all of them, is continuously to cut this connection with the God. You can see it comes out very subtly in terms of philosophy, in terms of science, in terms of social stuff, in terms of everything. How to deny the authority and the source and the origin of the Supreme Person. That seems to be the great effort. So here Kapila Dev is saying in that type of a setting, one thing that we can do is reality is understand who am I. That is not simply understanding I'm not the body. That is the root cause of being able to understand, therefore there is a Supreme Lord I'm connected to and we are all connected to. This understanding of who am I, waking up to the fact that I am a conscious personality, I am a spiritual personality, is so foundational and so important. If we didn't get that properly, we can never get connection with the Supreme Lord. That's why Krishna is taking that to be the first topic he speaks to Arjuna. Foundational mistake is you're acting on the platform of a false identity. That's why he calls it false ego. Real ego is that I am a spiritual person. I am part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Jiveru Surup Hoy Krishneru Nitya Das. I am eternally his servant. This is our identity. And what does it mean to say that I'm identity? You must feel it. You must identify with that identity. You feel it consciously and you sit inside that identity and act from there. But right now we are not inside that. That is crumbling. It's a small seed form. It's not at all active. Our consciousness is invested in the identity of the body. I am this material body. That's a sad state of affairs. And that capacity to even invest in this false ID also comes originally from the original ID of the spirit soul. That is the amazing thing. So the consciousness is invested in this body, mind, and intelligence. And the soul has attracted, although soul is producing that consciousness. Right? So you can see this is a very deep entanglement that we are in. You have to understand the entanglement. Prabhupada repeatedly explains that in the purports so brilliantly. And if you examine life without all this conditioning on your own, spend some time on your own, you can see that the self-realized soul is thus reflected first in the threefold ego, then in the body, senses, and mind. It's not speaking about, a conditioned soul. Self-realized soul sees it, that I am reflected. But the conditioned soul doesn't see it. It doesn't know him. It doesn't know false ego, doesn't know anything. He simply helplessly acts. Svabhavastu pravartate. He just acts as per the pushings of material nature. He's forced to act and he's just carried along, powerless spiritually. So you can see a very, very horrible situation. And the only way to look at it, the only way to get out of it is to understand these instructions, like Kapila Dev was saying. Very nicely, beautifully written purport, where Prabhupada is, a conditioned soul sees a beautiful rose and he thinks that the nice aromatic flower should be used for his own sense gratification. Whereas a self-realized soul will look at it immediately and say, what a beautiful rose designed by Krishna. I must offer this to Krishna for his enjoyment. You see, samshiddhir-haritoshanam. I think if I offer it to my Supreme Father, he'll be pleased with my action of thinking about him, connecting with him, and offering it to him. Because that is the basis of your revival of your original consciousness. Recognizing yourself, recognizing the Lord, recognizing your connection, and recognizing that the things in this world are meant to be offered to the Lord and used in the connection. You can even have your gratification. But why don't you recognize the Lord and then you take the prasadam and you enjoy it? Nobody is stopping your sense gratification. But if you become so wild in your gratification that you're totally forgetful about yourself and about the Supreme Lord, then you become an animal. Actually, one who is not connected, nasti buddhir ayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana ashantasya kuta sukham. You will not be peaceful if you are disconnected. And if you're not peaceful, how can you be happy? Is a question asked. Ashantasya kutah sukham. You will not be able to enjoy matter also very well. Actually, we are not knowing how to enjoy material world also. The enjoyment of the material world, if it is done in association with the Lord, is even more intense. That's the interesting thing, is my realization by reading the Bhagavatam. Actually, we don't know how to enjoy. It's a conversation of Prabhupada, or is it in the book? I don't remember vaguely. That how somebody is telling that I don't have time to eat, I'm busy, and I munch a sandwich on my way to the office in my car. That Prabhupada, I think, is saying something similar situation. He's saying they do not know how to enjoy material life. Made a powerful comment. You don't even know how to enjoy material life. It's only that you think you are enjoying. But there is a way of actually enjoying this world created by the Lord for our enjoyment. How it is created, how you should enjoy is all part of it. Like it's mentioned here, if I get the rose, I can see the rose in terms of Krishna, in terms of the nature that Krishna is provided, in terms of me. When I see it properly connected with Krishna, and I offer it to the Lord, and then I get it and I enjoy it, the enjoyment is far more meaningful, purposeful, and deep. It's full of knowledge. Because you know the origin of that rose, you know the origin of yourself, you know the original personality, and you know that he has given it for you to enjoy, and you've acknowledged. Yajñasishtasina canto muchyante sarvakilvishai bhunjate te tvam agam papam ye pachanti atmakarana. Without recognizing the Lord, if you enjoy that rose, your enjoyment will not come to, to that level. Actually, even materially, we are not able to enjoy fully. We're just driven by passion, and we go ahead and do something and claim something, and then we are panting, and we inside of us, we know that something is wrong. But with all the popularity and with all the recognition, everything that you get, that gets drowned. These are very sensitive realizations. These are very fine realizations. And they come to us repeatedly by the arrangement of the super soul. And we trample over them, roughshod over them, and we go ahead under the modes and we reduce our experience to a paltry gratification up to the senses alone. Gross in terms of the body, a little bit of the mind. Rarely intellectual. And then beyond that, spiritual, and beyond that, devotional. So a devotee's enjoyment is very fine. And Krishna affords it. Krishna affords it. He actually reciprocates with that person. He reciprocates with that person. He takes part in his service and gives him that great enjoyment. Like Krishna, He gave immense enjoyment to the gopis by physically embracing them, kissing them, dancing with them in the dead of the night. Because he said, I'll give it to you because of your level of devotion to me. And he actually gave them his experience. So accordingly, to the extent ye yatha mam prapadyante tan sataiva bhajamiham, to the extent that we are willing to connect, the whole process is called yoga, that's why. And the extent that you're willing to let go of this material experience, to that extent you will enjoy that experience. Praharshaya ishyami sanata jivitam. Somebody was asking me once, I remember once I was in Vrindavan and I was teaching in the VIHE, and I mentioned that enjoying spiritual life. Enjoying spiritual life? They said, I mean, you're supposed to sacrifice, you're supposed to sacrifice your enjoyment. Then I thought that for a moment, no, I can sacrifice my material enjoyment. Why should I sacrifice my spiritual enjoyment? Then where is my impetus and where is the purpose for me to pursue spiritual life? That's where people are becoming gray. The general default understanding is that I have to give up this, I have to give up that, give up that. Oh my gosh, what will I get in return? That's why there's reluctance. No. Praharshayishyami sanata jivitam means what? This is Bilow Mangal Thakur's statement. Bhavantam evaṁ charan nirantara prashanta nighasesha manoratantaraha kadaham aikantika nitya kinkaraha praharshayishyami sanata jivitam. Sanata jivitam. Along with you, Sanath, my master, along with you, that life of service gives me praharshishyami, tremendous amount of enjoyment and pleasure. So when you're connected and you're serving the Lord with things of the material world, you enjoy a lot. It's not that enjoyment can be denied to the soul, anandamayo bhyasa, because Prabhupada said that the soul is always seeking ananda, pleasure. So how can I cut off all these things and say that I'm doing only for you, Lord, no pleasure for me? Pleasure is coming out of doing for the Lord. That is your greatest pleasure. That is your greatest pleasure. That is what we get to enjoy in Krishna consciousness. Although we are not qualified by Lord Chaitanya's arrangement, we dance in front of the TDs, we loudly chant the holy name, we eat prasadam. And definitely we are enjoying when we eat prasadam. And those things that we like to do and we get enjoyment out of are the ones we perpetually try to do because it attracts me to do it. The way Prabhupada marketed Krishna consciousness is like that. Of course there is enjoyment in it. Of course eating prasadam, associating with devotees, discussing the philosophy of life, dancing and chanting and having a great ball, a Sankirtan ball, I call it, is definitely enjoyable. If you did not give an enjoying sadhana, which is a creative craft of Prabhupada, in designing the spiritual life in such a way that conditioned souls in Kali Yuga will get some enjoyment out of it. So don't think there's no enjoyment in it. There is enjoyment, but the overwhelming force of this material enjoyment, which conditions us from many, many lifetimes, is so sticky and we are so attached and addicted to it that we are not able to get out of it. But at least by knowledge, we should know that enjoyment, that amritatas, what is it? Shukaiti kanti kasyacha. You see, Krishna is explaining that the spiritual enjoyment of even knowing that your spirit soul itself is so great. Yasva atma-triptir evasyat atma-triptascha manavaha atma-santushta. Very beautifully explained. Shashvatai shukaiti kanti kasyacha. Understanding that I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul itself is an enjoyment of its own. Understanding that I'm spirit brings in a lot of amazing spiritual pleasure, right? What to speak of the watered down spirituality that people speak about in the secular world. For them, spirituality means showing compassion, seeing equality, worried about the condition of another person and contributing to it, and being generous, being helpful. All these are not really the spiritual quality, but they are vestiges, they are byproducts of this thing. And they're forcing themselves to be charitable, to be inclusive, and they call all that to be spiritual qualities. Of course, they're pulling down definitions and diminishing the original idea and convenience so that they can promote their own idea of a secularistic situation and equality based on their own material, man-made laws, etc., is another trip by itself. But if you want to genuinely understand your natural well-being and your natural position situation, this is it. Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita explain it. It's so clear. It's so clear. It is just that if they start chanting Hare Krishna, at least to some extent we understand the reality of it through knowledge. Yeah, I believe in that. I can develop faith in that. Then I can gradually experience that and be fully convinced. So Kapila Dev is explaining to his mother how you can use your own intelligence and understand yourself, being a spiritual person, different from this false ego, the intelligence, the mind, and the body. By this experience, this is an amazing thing. You don't need scientific proof, you don't need logic, you don't need reasoning, and all that and people coming and telling you these things to believe in the consciousness or believe in the soul. You are your own best proof. Your experience is itself the best proof. And science cannot do that externally inside. You have to do the experiment on yourself. And everybody who may not be even educated or may not be even knowing great science and all these things, terms and terminologies and buzzwords, can have the experience of, I'm a conscious spiritual personality. I can see through the false ego and through the intelligence, through the mind and through the body, that all these things belong to me. And I am caged inside. And through this, I am seen. My consciousness is invested in this material paraphernalia that makes it alive, right? Actually, I am the one empowering the animation through consciousness. So it's under my control in one sense. If I can connect up with the Supreme Lord, I can have better connection with my body, mind, intelligence, false ego, and manipulate those things in such a way that I see the world totally different. I see the world as a person who is woken up to his understanding, to his relationship with God. And through that eyes, you see it very differently. You see the body differently. You see your thoughts moving through differently. You can understand my mind is functioning and thoughts are moving in and out. I am discriminating, doubting, and dredging my memory. Intelligence is functioning. You can actually make out who is experiencing and watching all these things happening, that the intelligence is functioning, the mind is functioning. He is a more foundational identity than the body, than the mind, than the intelligence, than the senses. Isn't it? So that capacity to do that, pratyaksha bhagamam dharmyam susukam kartum avyayam, that should be exercised. In the second canto, point 1, the Lord in the heart, there's a beautiful verse that says that how you can use your intelligence to understand. You just sit down and think about it a little bit, to understand that you're not this body, you're pure consciousness. And you can watch yourself functioning on the mental, intellectual level and analyzing things, just like the body is functioning, evacuating, walking, eating, digesting, procreating, all these things it's doing. Same way, the mind is also doing, thinking, feeling, willing. The intelligence is also discriminating, doubting, comprehending. All that is going on. You can watch because it's functioning. And you are the prime mover in this body. That's why you're called Purusha. Purusha prakriti stohi bhunte prakriti jan gunan karanam gunasangasya sadasadyoni janishu. So it's such an exciting, proposal, because it gets validated by your own personal conscious experience. And I don't think that it's possible for it to be explained from outside in. Like science is trying to explain consciousness as being seated in the brain, seeing brain activity and comparing it to intention and, thought and consciousness and everything. It's a little muddled up and gray for them. They don't know. But the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, especially the Bhagavatam, brilliantly sets out and separates each one of these functions. Like it's mentioned here, false ego, the mind, the intelligence, the body, the spirit soul. Yo buddhe paratastu saha. He is completely of a different character. Indriyani pranyahu, indriyebhya paramanaha, manasastu parabuddhir, yo buddhe paratastu saha. So it's so exciting discovery through knowledge to find yourself in this whole arrangement as to where you are. Samkhya Yoga, 24 elements that is analyzed, and you're sitting inside that 24 elements. You're sitting inside that yantra rudhani mayaya, made out of these 24 elements. You are separate. You can't even call yourself the 25th element, because you're not just one of these elements. You are the experiencer. And behind you and empowering you, energizing you, is a super soul. Very closely connected and having you have that experience, facilitating that experience. And unfortunately, we are so disconnected with that. So this is an exciting journey that Kapila Dev takes us through in his instructions to their Vibhuti. One of my most favorite chapters. It makes you go inside yourself. This National Geographic, they produced a whole, I think they shot a photograph inside, the functioning in the womb, the fetus, and the development, and because of technology now, you can do all sorts of things. You can actually do surgery. You put a, what do you call, a probe, laparoscopic probe. You can even have, now they're having nanobots, nano-sized robots, small, getting into the cellular structure and changing it. So they're saying cancer can be cured by this. So if they can do to that level, and in that level, I think they'll also have photography taken. So similarly, this is another something spiritually subtle. You can go inside and from inside watch your functioning. I don't call it, it is not gross like nanobots or nanorobots. It is you who are the conscious person from deep inside. And you are separated from this body, ego, mind, intelligence. And it's so fascinating, because even though science cannot give you a proof of all these things, what does it matter? As though science and the methodologies they have is the only way of proving reality. We are stuck with that also. We think this is the way empiricism and a way of understanding the reality. It's not affording itself to that. So it's exciting to have yourself think about it. This is what struck me about the Bhagavad Gita. Although you can have all sorts of rational arguments, you can't beat your own personal experience that this is true. I am a conscious, living personality. If you don't want to call it spiritual, don't want to call it Atma, you have to still grapple with that identity. So here is a brilliant explanation by Kapila Dev, and there are further explanations. I'll stop here. It's 8 or 9 o'clock. Om Tat Sat. There's a question here from Sundara Murari Das. Question from Sundara Murari. Is enjoyment in Bhakti allowed? Example, I like eating banana chips. Can we offer them to Lord and enjoy that? Madhavendra Puri felt offensive when he wanted to partake sweet kheer being offered to Lord Gopinath. Is this state achievement? Is this state achieved slowly in Bhakti? Even if we start with enjoyment spirit, please clarify. Yeah, very interesting question. Sundara Murari Prabhu, thank you for thinking deeply. We are allowed to enjoy prasadam because of the sanction of Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. He said, whatever you want to, this thing, you offer it to the Lord and you eat. After all, Kali Yuga people, we don't want to put you through all this. As long as you recognize the Lord and the connection, eat it as prasadam, it's okay. Because that is our level of Krishna consciousness. For that, he has allowed it. Because by eating that, by his request to the Lord, whenever we offer and eat, we are going to make progress in our spiritual understanding. We are not the same as Madhavendra Puri. So that need not be mapped on top of us. Madhavendra Puri is a completely different category. His desiring to eat that prasadam, Krishna went behind him. Eat it here, I brought it for you. Please eat it. You wanted it. Krishna wants to serve Madhavendra Puri because he got a chance that he likes to eat this. He wants to taste this and he wants to offer it to me. He's thinking. Even in his thinking, he said, I must taste it only because I can make like that and offer to the Lord. There's no sense gratification involved. Even that he thought is not proper. We are talking at a different level. I like to eat banana chips, so I cannot eat unoffered food. Can I buy it, offer it, and then eat it? That is very different from saying and thinking kheer is being offered. And he praised the kheer before and told him we offer like this, like this. So that's when he started thinking, this must be a very good offer. I wish you could taste a little bit of it. So I can cook it like that. I can prepare it like that and offer it. It was not for sense gratification. Not for, but what the Lord did is, he took a great risk of Madhavendra Puri wants this. He stole from Madhavendra Puri. He went behind Madhavendra Puri and gave it to him and said, you eat it. You eat it. So that is not the same if you analyze it. And Madhavendra Puri, you know how he ate it? He relished it so much because of devotion. Because he came to know the Lord has stolen from me. Therefore, he enjoyed it. And then he cut the pot into pieces and put it in a cloth bag. And every day he'd bite and eat the pot because the lotus hands of the Lord have touched that pot. He consumed the whole chetipane, the whole mud pot, he consumed it. That is the way Mahaprasadam is for Madhavendra Puri. So I don't think we need to compare. It's not the same thing. But you can, as long as you feelingly offer to the Lord, my Lord, I am got this tongue, Sharira Vidijal, Tare Madhye Jigvayati. I'm stuck with this and I need to taste food and my tongue is really uncontrollable. At least I'm controlling it to eating only foods prepared and offered to you in devotion. So Prabhupada has allowed, you can cook anything you want with grains, fruits, vegetables, and all of that, and you offer it to the Lord and you eat. So devotees eat, they have feasts, and they eat sumptuously. And that's a great concession given. And they enjoy it, it's allowed. That is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's special craft. So generally speaking, everybody likes to eat. Even Vedic times, they would eat very well, pure, nice food offered to the Lord and prepared with ghee. And everybody enjoys. These are some of the concessions given for human beings. And the path is also charted out very nicely. That's what I'm saying, that you can enjoy far, far greater than what you're enjoying now, disconnected with the Lord. That's what I understand from the readings. I hope that helps you. Okay, Valli Krishna, karma, akarma, and the karma need further explanation of this terms, Maharaj. Well, I don't think I ever used this now in this lecture, but if you want, we can try to explain that. As explained by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, karma simply means work. in its very simplest of understanding, is work. And in this material world, we cannot keep quiet. We need to act. Nahi kshanamapi jatutishtati akarmakrit karyatehi avashah karma sarvair prakriti jair gunaihi. Prakriti will push you, and you will be forced to act in your conditional state, in your forgetful state, by the modes of material nature. You've given up on your own original identity, and you are stuck with getting in return matter and material enjoyment through this body and the senses and objects and everything. So you just move yourself addicted to that type of living. You're programmed, right? That action is also called karma. Now, you can understand by knowledge, oh, there is direction given by the Lord. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishtitam. There is a prescription for a human being like me to live properly and not whimsically act. I should act within these instructions. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi. It is actually coming from the Vedic literature. And that Vedic literature, brahmakshara samudbhavam. It is coming from the Supreme Lord. And therefore, if I do things according to that, tasmat, Brahman will be situated in all of that. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajne pratishtitam. Because I'm following that complete order and prescription and instruction, that is also correct karma. Acting as per the instructions, that's also called karma, varnashrama. That is what is primarily used in all the Vedic literatures. Karma means your duties as per Vedic prescription. That is the real thing. Then there is acting only for the sake of the Lord, in love. That is called akarma. Why? It is not like this. It's not like this karma. That is what acting under the prescription of the Vedic literature for material enjoyment plus offering to the Lord, all a mix, a little avian mix is there. It's not like that. It is pure. Purely idam Krishnaya idam namama. Only for Krishna. I want to offer because I love you. I want to give you something out of my own capacity. I can only give you things from the world that you have made. But please accept that it is imbued with my love for you. That's Krishna says, if you offer it like that, I will accept it. Patram phalam toyam pushpam yome bhaktya prayachati. That is akarma. That is for you. I bring one flower, but filled with devotion and offer to you. Like in Guruvayur, you have that very old lady. She was in a house and the son was, not bothered about her. Family members are busy, everything. She wanted to offer something for the Lord. They said no. So she picked up all the small red seeds which Krishna likes to play with from the ground. And then she washed it, she dried it with great love and put it in a nice cloth and went all the way to Guruvayur temple with this thing. And then in her great affection, she wanted to offer this to the Lord. There's a huge crowd of people, elephant procession and all that. And then the guard said, get away. And she said, I'm just wanting to offer this. Okay, give it here. And she put it on top of that hundi. The place offered it. Then she offered it to the Lord. I brought it for you. I'm not able to do it. But it was filled with love of Krishna. Although it was very insignificant. Because this guard was thinking, what, some guru here bought some seeds. Here, go. People are bringing jackfruit and huge amount of bananas. And they're giving sacks of that. There's everything. She could not do all that. So what happened is, as people were pushing around here and there, that thing fell down. And she saw that it's fallen down. What I gave is an offering. And then the elephant was going to keep its feet on it. And this man was not bothered. The guard, how can he bother? He's so busy. At that moment, the Lord came as Nrsimhadev to protect that offering. And that elephant geared up back and doubled back And there's a big noise. It raised its trunk because it saw lion. And then the whole thing stopped. And then it backed off. And then the Lord appeared to the pujari and said, pick it up and put it back. It's an offering made by her to me. It's very precious to me. Such was the offering. This is akarma. It is pure devotion, although it is in the form of a small seed. So, what we offer feelingly to the Lord, my Lord, please accept this. I'm giving it to you with love. That's all I can give now. That's all He wants, your love. So we have all that capacity we can offer. That action is called akarma. Akarma, karma, vikarma. Vikarma is, I don't care for anything, I do what I want. Right? I do what I want. That also Krishna speaks about. Such people are acting in vain. Forget that shloka especially. So, who act whimsically. That type of action is akarma. So, human being should at least do karma and graduate into a karma, or in between that, bobbing in between that. Then his life will be better. He's done something worthwhile as a human being. I hope that helps you. That's a simple explanation of karma, vikarma, and this thing. Balli Krishna. Om Tat Sat. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nittai Guru Premanande. Thank you. Hare Krishna.